And there it is. A brand new Ski Rex Media live stream once again on a Saturday night when there's nobody watching because they're all in here, the ones who usually watch it. And it's a Saturday night and people might be out doing things. But for this week, I'm not alone. As I said, I have all kinds of people here, all kinds of friends. Look at this. Look at this. And then there was a sixth person here not 3 seconds ago. You all saw Travis pop up, right? Anybody? No?
I was backstage. So.
Trav.
No. Oh, were you? Yeah. Well, I got up too. That's fine. Dude, I don't hope I'm not just imagining him on random times. That'd be weird and a little, But anyway, tonight we're here to talk about something that I know very little about. Not skiing. I know quite a bit about that. We're here to talk about marijuana. We tried this before, me and Higgs, with Travis, and I blew the audio. It's the famed lost episode of the Ski Rex Media podcast. And it will remain lost because it makes your ears bleed when you listen to it, quite literally. But for tonight, we have a bunch of our guests. We start just next to me, top row middle. Scary Gary G. Move. How are you doing, sir, out there in the Colorado?
Fantastic. Thanks for inviting me for the convo.
No problem. No problem. Next to him, at Tech Rob, skiing with no filter, the number one hype man and fan of Ski Rex Media and friend of the show and has been on the show many times. Rob, how are you, sir?
I'm good, Tim. How are you?
Oh, dandy like a lion. Drop down one below me, right about there. Scooter, another one of the Pennsylvania contingent, also a past guest on the program. How are you, sir?
Going good, Tim. Good to see you. What up, boys?
Absolutely.
Hola.
And then one of my older friends here, my friend Mike Higgins. Higgs, how you doing? Snowboarder, marijuana smoker, at least sometimes. Also podcasting personality.
Jersey Local 420 representing.
And then
Nerdity's in the house. Am I the only other person with a podcast? Am I the only other fucking loser in here?
Yeah. You really are. It's just me and you. Oh, wait a minute. Our next guest might have arrived.
Is he?
He's there, but he's not there. Come on, Cooter. See, here's the problem.
All the way there. Is he
coming?
coming?
He's coming.
This
It's
thing is breathing
coming.
hard.
He's almost there. Stay on target.
The Hollywood Squares is going to expand.
It's going to expand just a little bit. Charles Nelson Riley. See, here's the problem with living in Vermont. We are still behind the times in many things. Now, I'm very lucky. I live on a paved road. I live in town. I have one of the fastest internet connections in the state. I swear I do. I swear I even beat out people out there in Burlington. I'm very lucky. Travis, he lives within sight of a paved road, but it's meaningless. He's got a little bit of cell coverage. He's still using DSL up there. But you know what? It's kind of awesome being out there. So, but again, you can see him. In fact, it's right between Stratton and Bromley. So there you go. There's something going on.
Props to the city of Loveland. I have a fiber optic line directly to my house. And I can
there you go.
Whatever speed I want.
What do you say, Trav? Something? Trav?
I used to love.
Boom.
Hey, Scooter,
I see a space for him.
He's there, but I don't think he realizes it because I'm looking right at him. 6 people, and I think that's the one that's going out. So he's there, but he don't realize he's there. So we'll wait for him to catch up. And he's gone again. All right. Well, he'll be in and off and out and in and whatever. We'll get him in as soon as he can. And he'll message me if he can't.
Nice.
And then he'll just play over here. So tonight we are going to talk about the marijuana in snow sports. These 4 gentlemen know something about that. I only know what I saw and what I've seen because I don't do that kind of thing because I'm the straight edge of the group. Out of every group, I quit drinking. I quit smoking. I don't do drugs. I live clean. I'm 90% vegetarian now. Like, are you kidding me? I'm going to live forever if I can pull it off and be the first one to do it. It'd be awesome.
You had 1 week. You had one
I did have 1 week
where you were one
Tim,
of us. Never forget that. 1 mind-blowing week.
So you just spoke a joke. I quit drinking, smoking, and having sex.
I gave it all up.
It was the worst day of my life.
I gave it all up. All of it. Listen, I function better when my feet are on the ground. And when I mean that figuratively, because as Higgs was talking about that wonderful wild week, it didn't end well. It ended poorly. We don't need to tell that story. Huh?
If I can you hear me? Because you guys are cutting out. Are you hearing me completely? Because I want this story out there. Everyone needs to know the week that started nicely and ended hellishly. We used to work overnight at a business that rhymes with Flarget, and we would come home about 7-ish in the morning, sometimes 8. And my first thing to do would always be pack the pipe saber. That's right. I turned a lightsaber prop into a pipe. We'll get to that later.
Nerd.
And most mornings it was me and I didn't even remember who it was I was passing back and forth, but it was probably closer to noon because we would come home and just sit up for hours when we should have been going to bed. I was passing him a joint back and forth or a blunt back and forth, and Tim was right across the hall from me, walks in as we're talking. That wasn't an uncommon thing for Tim to just sit there and watch it happen. And as it was going back and forth, Tim reaches his hand out and takes it and puffs, and the room is shocked. And he did that all week long. Now, I remember it must have just been a joint or a pipe because the week ended with him smoking a blunt for the first time and the last time.
Nope, that's not what happened.
Rob's
gone.
The emergency. Well,
that's not what happened. Rob's gone. That's not what happened.
What was it? All I remember is you smoked a blunt. Okay.
I didn't.
Fill in the blanks then.
There'll be nothing incriminating here.
It's so old now. I'm old.
Yeah.
The statute is gone.
Yeah.
But
We're
the
past
pipe saber happened.
Yeah.
The pipe saber happened. That was my training weapon. The last time, what ended up getting me the worst, it was me, you, Tommy, and some chick who, whatever. You said, hey, you want to come with us? I was like, yeah, I've been doing this for a week. I can hang with the professionals. Can I? Friggin', I remember we sat down, we had the pipe saber.
I'm a man.
Yeah, I was a man, and I paid the price for it. I remember we sat down. We had the pipe saver going one way between the four of us, and something else going the other way. I don't know. It might have been one of Tommy's or something. I can't remember, that fucking kid. And I remember I sat there going hit for hit with the three professionals. Just whatever they could do, I can do too. So, except for the blunt, his story was 100% correct. The problem was about it was about a half hour later or so. I think you guys was one of you said, "Dude, you in for the next round?" I was like, "No, no, thank you, no." And I took a shower, and I was hanging out with this broad that we were all passing around the house, and I was hanging out, and I was like, "Dude, I can't take it." And she was like, "All right, let's go walk it off." And we were doing laps in the driveway. I couldn't handle it. We got another one of our roommates to take me to the emergency room, where the nurses laughed at me. Some of them, one didn't, but several of them did in my face. Yeah, they were like the triage nurse. She was like, "You're probably feel worse than you are." A couple of them laughed. The doctor wrote in big letters on the discharge, "Stop smoking." I mean, they were very cool about it. They let me do a full drug test to make sure it didn't have like coke or anything in it, something like that.
Yeah, that's a bad day when you smoke some weed and wind up in a hospital.
Yeah, it just turns out I couldn't handle it. And that
Tim telling me this story at Black Mountain last year.
Some people are not built for weed.
We're not. I'm not built for anything. Fresh air and food and water, and even my body doesn't like food a lot of the time anymore. So that happened. The blunt came into play when Chris came over one day and you were asleep. And this was after this, and he hadn't heard about it yet. And he's trying to get your attention, but you're zonked. It was a long day. Maybe I was off the night before. So he comes knocking on my door. He's like, "Dude, what's going on?" I'm like, "Bored, man. What are you doing?" And he's like, "Hey, man, I heard you started smoking." This is how quickly my week went. He's like, "I heard you started smoking. Do you want to fire this?" And I was like, "Listen, that's over." And I told him the story, and he's like, "Wow, it was pretty quick." And I'm like, "Yeah, it really was." And I couldn't be around it for like years. Like, God, I remember for a while in our house when we all lived together, I'd close my door and put like a towel along the bottom just so I couldn't smell it. Because if I smelled it, my heart would start going really fast and it would fuck me up and everything. And just from smelling this stuff. Like, are you kidding me?
So secondhand contact, huh?
Oh, it's brutal. I remember, contact didn't used to bother me except for the fact that I couldn't drive. You could always tell when people were in my car smoking because there was a time I allowed that. You could always tell when it was getting to me because my foot would suddenly get lighter and lighter and we'd be doing 30 in a 60 or something like that. Like I couldn't drive. Like I could drive, but I
called that the DSLs.
The DSLs?
The delayed or DSR, sorry, the delayed stoned reactions.
Oh, it so is. I can't handle it, which is actually what kind of brings me to this topic.
Let me get you back on topic for marijuana in snow sports. In general, most of us are skiers. Higgs, I think I heard you were a snowboarder, but snow sports, alternative sports, what used to be extreme sports. The formation of a lot of it came out of a culture of marijuana use, not marijuana as the driver, but marijuana as an intoxicant that changed your perspective. Some people, let me sidestep here. I can pass a P test. Okay. Speaking to you now, there's no THC in my system. In my youth, marijuana affects people differently, but for many, it becomes a hyper focus. All right. You're on to that thing. Where cocaine, you become scatterbrained. Alcohol, you might lose some sensibilities and reflexes, balance. Marijuana was a mind focuser for many of us. And we still had our other chemicals as far as testosterone and, angst, and it just helped funnel it. So we put our energy into things that we could focus on, and it just became all encompassing. And that was in BMXing, that was in skateboarding and skiing, and you name it. As we were speaking backstage before the show started, Tim.
Yeah.
My perspective was skiing and snow sports progressed because of marijuana use. Nobody in a sober state of mind looks at a mountain, snow-covered mountain, and says, I can ski that. Right? Especially when you're on the top of a line. You look down at it, you're like, yeah, you're not skiing this. Mm-hmm. But when you're stoned, you go, it's totally doable.
Oh, yeah. I get it. And you know what? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, and that progressed the terrain of people seeing things, being hyper-focused and conscious, and losing some inhibition. And actually doing the undoable, pushing boundaries. And I truly believe marijuana was a large driver in that creation and pushing boundaries of the sport.
I believe it and I agree. But first, let's see if Travis knows he's here this time. Dude, you here? Come on, Cooter.
I see it, Trav.
I see him. Come on, Schwartz.
I see a non-moving Trav.
I don't know. Yeah, he's stuck.
Stationary.
It's that slow spectrum cable you guys got there.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Actually, no joke. The company that he's with has a lot of or not contracts. A lot. They service a lot of the up here. And the state of Vermont told them, look, if you don't get your act together with boosting speeds, better service and stuff, we're going to come down on you. We might bring the FCC with us. So it's like, holy shit. Like, you suck if the state's coming after you. But to Gary's point, I believe it. I believe it because it can push you to do other stuff. But my thing always was, and again, this is a personal thing, Nick, because I had skied many, many times, every time sober. At this point, then I tried the stuff, had the incident. How do you do it? I couldn't do it. It would fucking kill me. It absolutely would. I don't know how you do it because I've seen Higgs do it. I've seen Trav do it.
I think it comes back to, like you said, I didn't just smoke. I don't know about anybody else's lifestyle. It was part of who I was. Came home every day, did it. There probably wasn't a moment for 20 years where I wasn't high at some point. And when we got to the mountain, like I would only snowboard with those guys, essentially, with the exception of a couple other times. It would be, we're going up, we're getting tickets for free. It's the best situation ever. And we're going to hit a really solid mountain. And the first run, it's going to be dry. I'm just going to get out there and feel it out, especially my first run. We're going to be completely dry. After a little while, I was like, all right, you think you're ready? Yeah. Okay, let's go back into the woods. Get up to the top, duck off, and it became one of my favorite things to be, all right, we've gotten the boards underneath us, we've had a good couple runs, let's go get fucking baked. And when you do, it is complete nirvana zone. You don't second guess things. Your confidence level goes up 10 times if you're that person. If you're the person who lives on it, and then sometimes at a certain phase of my life, I lived for it. So if it is part of who you are, it's the only way you could hit a mountain. I couldn't talk because it's been for the last 2 years for me. I've only smoked a couple of times. Like when we went to Big Snow, someone who should be in the room right now gave me some, and I went home. I wasn't high there, but it was a good thing it was short runs. I went home and smoked. That was the last time I smoked. I can't imagine hitting an actual mountain without it. But now I'm in a weird position. If I went to a mountain and smoked there, would I be in that like virgin state of I don't remember what this mindset is like? Or would it just be like second nature? I don't know. I want to try it. Can't skip it. I want to try it. I just don't know.
Come on up. Scooter will be up.
And you represent the younger generation here. Bring it.
I'm just kind of thinking, it affects everybody a little bit differently,
Sure.
Tim's had different effects from it.
He's on the extreme end.
yeah, definitely. And it's just like anything you put in your body, everything affects everybody differently. So some people might it might make them like scared, they might like kind of brace up and be scared actually to do things, or some people might give them too much confidence. They might go out and do something stupid.
And let's not forget about like indica versus sativa.
Yeah,
like, when you get in street shit, you have no idea what you're getting.
Yeah,
some of the most focused times I've ever been in my life is when I've had a sativa. and it's like fucking limitless. It's like you got that mind expanding drug. The world is your oyster. You got some indica. Why are we even on a fucking mountain? Let's go home and play video games.
Since like if you don't get out too much, or it's your first time going out, I wouldn't suggest doing it. It may alter, throw your balance off, whatever.
Your DNA.
Yeah. I don't, I think it's one of those things you got to really, know what your body limit is and things like that. Like
you got to create a baseline for who you are on it.
Yep.
This is way too technical.
Not just show up at the resort, first run, you haven't smoked in months or ever, and you get to the resort and you get to the top of the hill and you go down to the hut and burn down, and then next thing you know, you don't know how to get back to your car.
You need a spreadsheet, an abacus, and a nice.
And you see, that's my issue, because over the years, and Higgins can actually attest to this, I wasn't a bad skier. I could hold my own pretty much anywhere. Scooter's experience is a little different. He saw me as probably on one of my worst days in history. That was ugly. I skied like shit. I was a beginner. I was making bonehead mistakes, beginner mistakes. It was awful.
Sounds like you should have done a bong hit.
That's actually where I was going with this. I was like, you know what? Maybe I should have just done it and gone with it, man, because that day was stupid. That was stupid for me. It was bad. The drunk person was skiing better than I was. Rest in peace.
So, I wouldn't down yourself there, Tim, because I don't think you did bad at all.
I mean, I'm alive.
You're alive, and conditions that day were pretty interesting. It's like 40-hour winds, dust on crust, and
yeah, it was what a weird day. Snow squalls.
That's just a garbage day. That's just a garbage day. Don't blame yourself.
It was East Coast day.
Oh, it was fun though. We had fun. I'll say that. We had a good time.
Tim, you just brought up a good point that I was meaning to touch on, and I spoke on earlier. The difference in the intoxicant of marijuana, THC, and a mind-enhancing, the technical sativas, indicas, things have gotten chemistry, right? When we were smoking, it was swag, right? It was brickweed, and you smoked your bowl, and someone might have had some homegrown. It was like, oh, they got Northern Lights seeds from the Norway seed bank. This 80s and 90s era, we didn't have the chemistry degree. We didn't have menus.
Did smoke it?
Yeah, and it was sometimes it was wake and bake all over the Intermountain West on our mountains, our ski huts to just pull into and smoke. But the dichotomy between those that drank, I was never a drinker on the mountain. Absolutely not. I took my skiing way too seriously. Wanted to be focused. When you smoked weed, you lost your mind, or you found your mind, but it was a mind-altering drug, where alcohol became a balance, coordination, reflex, central nervous system depressant. I drank after the day of skiing, but never that let's have a beer at lunch or let's, have a flask in my pocket. That was never my jam or the posse I ran with. And
I believe it. First, real quick, let's welcome Travis to the program. Trey Surf Dragon.
Travis.
Hey, man.
You made it through the gates out of Vermont and into the internet era.
Trying to.
Nice.
Wait a minute.
All my stuff's out of date.
We got Tech Rob back too.
Solid 6.
Yeah.
It's my crotch.
Wow. Solid 6.
Little technical difficulty. All good.
Hey, Tech Rob will fix it. All right. So back to it.
Yeah, keeping that going with Gary was talking about drinking, and I'm pretty much with Gary on that. I'll sometimes have a drink like on my lunch break, but like to go out and slam a bunch of beers or take a bunch of shots throughout my day, like not happening. And you can certainly tell somebody who's drunk going down the hill, but you only smell it's going down the hill, right? Like if somebody's smoking and skiing or boarding, like the only way you're gonna know is if you smell it on them. Like, I've never can say I've heard of somebody so high skiing or boarding if they were lost or whatever, blah blah blah. But you hear plenty of stories about drunk people and things happening, unfortunately.
All things in moderation
Alyssa?
too.
No, rest in peace. But no, I did say
Like
she
all
skied
things in
better than me.
moderation.
God, dude.
Because like I was saying, we'd start the day dry, after a run, go into the woods and smoke, and then about halfway through the day, it's like, let's hit the mid mountain and have a beer. Now, I think we've all drank enough to know that one beer, you're in a good place. It actually accentuates the runs. Anything
Love the
beyond
one
that,
beer buzz.
yeah, and you especially if it's a strong one, you're like, all right, I have found perfection. You don't fuck with that though. You don't go, I'll have another one. Let's sit down for 3. No, that's when problems start. If you're a person who can have moderation, it's the best place to be. If you're a souse, if you're a lush, you're gonna hit a tree. You're gonna sunny bone on that shit.
So we're gonna
Depends.
let
I mean, I lived the ski lifestyle. I drove up the access road pounding in Newcastle, got on the gondola, ripped up a blunt, and then boom, first runs with freshies. So, I mean, I was 24, 25, did an all-nighter, but whatever. But
yeah, Travis.
it's all about tolerance, man.
Yeah,
And
Travis, my friend. Go ahead, dude. Finish.
Yeah. Party all that night. So
Yeah, you see, Travis has gone harder than almost anybody I know. So there's your answer to that. In fact, we'll let him continue. I won't cut him off, and then we'll get into a story from Rob too. I'll tip him off here in a second. Go ahead, Trav. Finish up what you were saying. I didn't mean to step over you.
Well, it's just at that age, at the time, I mean, it's just what we did. That was the lifestyle. You work at the mountain, you party at the mountain, you're off, you hit the mountain, you were up there, you were mingling with the locals, which we all were the locals, plus all the lovely foreigners that were working up there. Can't forget those. But yeah,
We're gonna have
that's what the lifestyle was. I mean, you worked there, you partied there, bars were there, girls were there. Where it was at.
We'll do girls on another chat. That should pretty much alienate any female audience I have, which isn't very big.
It's been part of ski culture from the beginning.
Absolutely.
Right.
And the drinking, we all saw it, and Rob saw it. If you asked if we were talking about it, Alyssa, if you want to tell that story of Black Mountain to Cannon Mountain, you can. That's fine.
Yeah, so part of our ski group who was a follower of Ski Rex Media from way back, one of the original ones, when me and Alyssa joined on. Alyssa was my friend from DC. She was cool, but she loved Fireball. Fireball and weed, that was her thing.
That's a problem.
She'd go out and smoke a joint in the morning, start smoking Fireball at 8 a.m. Little 97-pound girl, soaking wet, slamming like 8 shots of Fireball before 8 a.m. So I will tell you, at Black Mountain, it was she was okay at Black Mountain, probably 20 shots in. Then we went to Cannon. It was -7 up top, and she was so drunk she was literally licking her goggles to try and defrost them. And then after that, yeah, she thought that was a great idea. So we run back to the lodge. So at the end of the day, it's 3:30. Let's close at 4. She hikes up to one of the highest peaks in Cannon, right? It's a hike-to trail. I can't find her. No cell signal, no nothing. We're at Cannon Mountain in the wilderness. No nothing. I'm starting to get worried. My cell phone's breaking up. I call her, and she's like, I'll be down there. So I go up to search for her before I call ski patrol. And she's underneath the lift screaming. She's like, oh my God, laughing, and she's screaming, I gotta pee.
She was a good kid. Rest in peace, man. She was awesome.
Yeah, rest in peace. She was awesome. Unfortunately, died in a tragic car accident over Labor Day weekend. But
yeah.
So got her back to the lodge, whatever. She did her business, and then got her back. But she was just funny as hell. I never seen a 97-pound girl pound like 20-some shots of Fireball. I probably had 30-some on hand, and she definitely finished it before the trip. But she at least smoked fucking 4 joints, 20-some shots of Fireball, 97 pounds smoking wet, and still had a blast.
That was something.
Yeah.
See, and that speaks to Gary's point. People who are drinking, and one of the reasons I don't is because that amount of alcohol blows my mind. There's no possible way I could do it. Never, even at my best. Trav can tell you, Mike can tell you, Trav especially. We've been friends for 30 years. I've never been able to keep up with everybody else. I was always the weakest link. I was always the lightweight. So when I hear that, and then skied, because when we were at Black Mountain, she was doing that shit just.
Yep.
And she was skiing better than me. I swear to you.
Yep. Yeah. Her theory was the more she got drunk, the better she skied. I just think she kind of lost the fear factor. Yeah, right.
That's what it is.
So I think just her. I think she just lost the fear of the downhill, which gave her confidence to complete the rest of the run. However, like me and Scooter were like, I think we need a beer, at noon, and then we ate a cheesesteak. It's 1 or 2 beers, and it was all cool. She just kept going and going. And like I told Scooter, I said, since when do I ever wind up being the babysitter? I'm usually the partier, and I don't wind up being the babysitter. But,
getting old, Rob.
There you go, right? 46 this year, but yeah, that was a good time, and you know what? I don't regret it. Like that was her thing. Even when we were up at Liberty Mountain, like on the chairlift, hoots and hollers, and Scoot filmed that one. Hoots and hollers in the background and Fireball. So,
Jesus Christ. See, that would kill me, and there's no way I could do it. There's no way I could keep my head about me. There's no way I could keep my feet about me. And again, I always assumed, even though I've watched my friends, here I am with my face out the gondola window because it's just a cloud inside of it. And believe me, I don't. I don't miss it at all. Chairlifts for me, no bubble tops either. Let that shit be open. It's coronavirus. You got to escape the coronavirus. It's got to be outside. But I assumed being high would do the same shit. But again, to Gary's point, you either lose your mind or you find it. And it feels to me most people who aren't me, find it and they have their groove and they get in on it and they can do it. Like I said, I watched Trav and Mike ride tons of times after smoking. Tons.
Changing a level of consciousness, changing a focus, with the whole snow sports, when snowboarding came into the Olympics. And I don't remember names specifically, but whatever guy won the gold medal, U.S. snowboarder, and then failed a drug test.
Yep.
And it was like, no. How do you think a sane person doesn't drop into a half pipe at that energy and speed and perform or even invent these tricks because they're stone cold sober? The person who can do that sober, and I'm just saying sober as an intoxicant, not alcohol, is the anomaly. The marijuana has always been part of the culture. In Crested Butte, where I resided, the cops, if you were busted with weed, now it's all legal and nothing matters. But back in the day when it was illegal, if you got busted with marijuana, the police would say, dump it on the ground and grind it into the sidewalk.
Ooh.
That was your punishment.
And that's it.
Or they'd confiscate it and then go home
and smoke it.
Add to their stash.
I mean, I know people I know people who would cry at the thought of having to grind it into the sidewalk in front of a police officer. Travis would cry.
True story.
Did.
A bar called the Talk of the Town, which is the local dive bar in Elk Avenue in Crested Butte, actually watched the guy, police bust him with weed, and said, dump it on the ground and grind it into the sidewalk. And the dude's like, no, man, I just bought it. He's like, you don't understand. We're watching this guy going, the alternative, okay, is no better than you grinding your weed into the sidewalk. And he said, no. And they cuffed him and they brought him to jail. And he still lost his weed. That was
the best is when people don't understand it. And they don't understand it. And like the one day, our buddy John up at Liberty, he went to Scooter's car and he's like, "What, you just hit a skunk?" he smells it. You know, he doesn't even know what the fuck. You know, so he's like, "What'd you hit a skunk?"
Oh my god, dude, that smell, man, that gets to me every time to this day. Trav will tell you, I go walking into the house, him and some of our other buddies will be there, and the friggin' cloud will hit you. Just walking out, it's like, what the fuck?
Well, and the stuff nowadays smells so much stronger, and it is so much stronger. But
Smells like
I don't.
God's vagina.
The smell, the smell is just so, carries so far.
I wasn't. Who said that?
Mike.
All right.
See, the problem here is everybody froze after I said it, so I don't even know if it went through. And then
it
went
and I
through.
heard a laugh,
It went through.
and I understood that the timing landed.
Oh, it landed friggin' top 10. Perfect.
Now,
go ahead, dude.
For me, like we've spoken about how much I've smoked on the mountain. It's the only way I knew how to go on the mountain. But I also questioned if it's not one of the things responsible for my worst injury ever.
Oh,
you two guys were there that day.
Yep.
I don't know if you saw it. It was
I saw the
a collision
aftermath.
between myself and our friend Shitty Pat, where we were going down a flat spot that was right before a downward, and I'm on a board. I don't know if anybody else has ever snowboarded besides Trav. You know, momentum is your lifeblood when you're on a board. You have to make decisions based on how fast you're going. And there was a pair of old fucks in front of me just center riding. They didn't go to the right. It's like driving. You go slow, you go to the right. You want to go fast, go to the left. No, they were holding the middle. And I'm like, what? I hesitated. Had I not been high, maybe I would have just took the right and gone around them. But no, I hesitated and then said, oh, let me go to the left, collided with Pat, hyperextended my shoulder, and now I thought that was the worst of it, but I have upper, mid, and lower back problems because of that moment. Had I not been high, maybe I wouldn't have made that move. Then again, had I not been high, I probably wouldn't have been on the mountain.
What you got there, Gary?
You got that? You got the same thing?
Yeah, I just spent 102 days in a neck brace. I got it off on Monday afternoon.
So there you go. I don't know. I saw the aftermath of that accident. I don't know if there was anything you could have done because when people, inbounds at the resort, not that I know any backcountry stuff at all, but when you're around a lot of people, everybody's unpredictable. You do your best, and we've all had close calls. I know we've all, some of us might even hit some people like Mike did, and I saw the aftermath. I just saw a body on the ground, Jesus style, and just spinning a little bit. Not like, like a cartoon, but enough. There was some rotation. I was like, holy shit, are we going to have to get professionals for this? It was pretty brutal. I don't know if that was being high. I do remember after the fact. Who was that?
A DSR, a delayed stoned reaction.
Yeah, it could have been. And I do remember, though, you were medicating with said substance that night. And Opre is part of this too. Afterwards, is it just used for medical reasons? Is it for the fun? Is it if you have it, someone will buy it from you, you get a couple of bucks? Yeah, yes, there you go. I've seen. Go ahead, dude.
Yeah, you guys know my story. So tree skiing, drunk, broke my tibia, fibia, femur, compound fracture. Because I was He-Man and went through the trees and caught a tree, wrapped myself around it. So, screws, plates, everything. Told to never ski again. I did anyway, and even park ski now. But like, shit's no joke. Like, I don't recommend it. But like, if you want to get to like a certain level of consciousness, that's fun. If you want to get to like the insane point where I was at, I don't recommend it. But but just to chill out. By all means, have your fun. I still do it, but like not to the level that I was when I was 20.
Rob, it's never recommended to use trees as gates.
Certainly isn't. I'm done with the trees anyway. That's for guys who
win.
They're not as flexible.
What's that, Scoot?
The trees aren't as flexible as those gates.
They certainly aren't. And
I'll tell you what, your bones are though.
So when we were backstage, I said, "Here's my original old school Flyaway, aka helmet. All right,
Nice.
THC,
There it is.
totally hardcore.
Lots of dents.
And so I was one of the first people to wear a helmet. I probably put this on my head for the first time in 1989 or 1990.
Okay.
And I used to get ripped on all the time. And it's just on the tree thing. They're like, oh, what do you think? You're so badass. You know, you need a helmet. And I'm like, no. If I was so badass, I would never crash. I would never fall. If anything, it's a sign of my humility. The last tree I hit didn't move.
There it is.
And I'm certain the next tree I'm going to hit isn't going to move either. I enjoy what I do too much. I want to get up and do it again. I wear a helmet racing cars, motorcycles, skateboarding, roller, but everything else I do, I wear a helmet. Skiing is by far the most dangerous thing I do. Now, if you're at a ski area without a helmet, I got ridiculed for wearing one. Now you get ridiculed for not wearing one. So I've watched that happen. I would like to add this, and then I have to step aside for a moment.
Sure.
On the marijuana, intoxicant, ski culture, adrenaline, pushing boundaries, having fun, angst, finding yourself, energies. And there's a whole host of other drugs. It's not to be a drug conversation other than the use of marijuana. Free Skier magazine had an article several years ago that really struck home with me. When you're exploring these sports, again, as a lifestyle, being in Mountain Town, whether you're pursuing it as a career or living year after year in the ski town and skiing 100 days a year, there's different chemicals going on. You're likely type A, adrenaline, and these intoxicants play into it. It becomes a chemical fixation in your brain. So when you're not doing the adrenaline sport, taking intoxicants to fill those receptors, to stay in that elevated state. What happens as you go through your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, that there's a huge addiction level, there's a huge depression level, you get your injuries, you get broken down, you're not able to fulfill those receptors. And it was really profound in reading that article. And if I could ever come across it again, I'll share it with the group. But why there's such a high level of addicts later in life out of ski culture because of the adrenaline they did, the party atmosphere, everything's a party, the après ski. So it's fun and games and it's great memories, but there are also some long-term ramifications to sticking with that lifestyle. And I'm partially guilty of that as I have a sip of my Rocky Mountain Kool-Aid.
There you go.
Yeah, but you know what? Yeah, but you know what? Drew Peterson is a perfect example of that. Talking about operating and depression, anxiety, and trying to fill this void. And, he's the perfect example of, and he recently went to Outside Magazine to tell his story, and kudos to him, to tell him that, like, nothing can fill that void. And he was the party animal. He was everything. And he found himself, So kudos to him for even telling that story. Some people don't ever get to that level. Some people just, skip off to the hut in the woods, smoke a joint, and enjoy the rest of the trails. That's all good. I mean, that's kind of how I am. I don't need 90 beers to enjoy a run. But.
You strike me more as a 13er.
No. Honestly, Scoot knows. I'll come down and have a beer or an Alpre during, like, when Pop says it's coffee break or Scoot takes a break. Sure, I'll take a beer break. But obviously won't be like down in beers the whole day. I'll just get in that kind of zone just where I'm comfortable, and I'm good. Me and Scoot roll pinners. Some of our friends roll like logs. All good. Yeah, right. And I guess it depends on what you have. But this was a little powerful in Pennsylvania if you buy the right shit, and depending on where you are, I guess it's all different. But like I was saying, like Drew Peterson came out with that, and his depression and anxiety and stuff like that. So I get where you're coming from, Gary, on that point. Yeah.
Well, there you go. I mean, and it's good when you can, because the party lifestyle, that part of it, if you go all in, you might be going all out at a young age. You might get hurt more. I talked to someone recently on the podcast who Gary skied with, the wonderful, great Dan Egan, who he's not afraid to tell those party stories either. I couldn't believe it. I read his book and I was like, holy shit. Because even at this age, even though I have now come to know kind of what it is and how it's part of our sports, as Gary said, it's always been there. And but as even I learn new things. And when people tell like the rock star party lifestyle, like that is as far as some of you guys were going back then.
It was insane. And Dan and John are far more traveled and at a higher income level, if you will, with the Warren Millers, the tickets, and the hotels. But we were all running in the same circles, and
Yeah,
it was nuts. It was just incredible, fun, fantastic. But as Peterson was saying, and what does that look like at 40, 50 years old? 3 years ago, I was living in Spain, dropping cliffs, and there was a Moet champagne bar where people spent more time at the champagne bar than they did skiing.
not my thing, man. Not my thing. But you bring up an interesting point. If you got a minute, you said you had to step away. You good for a couple minutes?
I still got you, yeah. And I had to check on something here in the next minute or two, and then I'll drop back in. So go for it.
Well, real quick. Now, this isn't just an American thing either. Like we think of the pioneering of the extreme movement, the pioneers of the extreme movement. And Travis can also get in on this because he's been to more foreign countries than I have and has worked with more people from foreign countries in this industry. It's not just an American thing, is it?
No, it's
the party atmosphere is not. Marijuana, I think, is certainly more germane to North America or the United States than globally.
South America, definitely. Down in Peru and Brazil, yeah, they're all about it.
There you go. I just know that, and I spent time down there, and I guess we nothing. The flow remained in Europe back in the 80s and 90s. It had less access to marijuana. It was more of a hashish culture.
Oh, yeah.
And less of pack the bowl, smoke it on a chairlift and go. But I wasn't active in Europe when I was active. So I can't speak on their daily intermountain life. But
all right, so let's hear from Travis. Jesus Christ.
That's what's up. Go ahead, Trav. You got anything to add?
Now, like Canada and Europe, I mean, it's all over the place right now. I mean, but back then, I'm not really sure on how it would have really rolled out. But yeah, like the Australians, they're all about it. They were always all about it down there. We saw South Africa come out. No, they're all about it back in the.
See, I saw the South Africans as more drinkers than smokers. And then I've never saw them do it on mountain. And I don't know if that was just part of their, what's that? Go ahead.
Never much of a,
You're right. I wasn't, I never did that at that point in my life. And like I said, the lightest of the lightweights, I couldn't drink more than 3, it took me a long time to build up to 4, in my life, and 5 and 6, like, God, the last time I drank 6, I barely remember the day. I do remember I ended up on the stairs talking to someone laying on the stairs. That was weird, but these things happen. And this was again at the New Jersey house. Man, that place was bad news for all of us. But see, the thing is, it does seem.
Write a fucking book about that place.
I would never, because some of those statutes may not be out yet. Like that might not be done yet. Like there was some brutality.
We could write a book just about Nikki.
I'm never writing that book, and I'm never reading that book. And if I can not relive it,
look at those faces. Look at those 2 faces.
Yeah.
The House for Misfit Boys.
What a weird time in my life, man. What a weird time. But that's all right. We all have weird times, as we're saying here.
Fantasyland.
It was disgusting. Every last one of us should have AIDS, straight up.
Just from the shower.
Yeah, just from the shower.
Excuse myself for a moment. I'll catch you in a minute.
Yeah, no problem.
Right. But you guys did like the 10 years of coming up every summer or every winter.
I really miss that.
When you guys were mostly down there. And that was great. No, I mean, we used to party our faces off for a week straight.
Yeah, it was brutal, man. Mike C used to come up just to drink. He'd snowboard one day, and then he would drink the other 5. Kid was an animal.
That happens.
That happens. That
He'd
does happen.
He'd come up with the intention of, because we would alternate days. It would be, all right, first day, we got to hit the mountain. Next day, we'll take it off. We'll just sit around, play video games, get drunk and high. Next day, we're absolutely hitting the fucking mountain. We're making the most of this. You're coming up, Mike. You're coming with us, Mike, right? Yeah. That morning, we're getting our shit on. Carball's still laying in bed. You're not coming, are you? No. You make it Friday, right? Yeah. All right. Thursday. All right, we just had 2 strong days. Let's just sit around, play fucking Hero Quest, play some video games, get high and drunk. You're going tomorrow, right? You're coming tomorrow, right? It's the last fucking day. You're coming tomorrow? Yeah. Dude, my knees. I can't argue that. I don't know how your knees feel. I guess your knees are blown out. What the fuck do I know? My knees feel bad, but hey, I'm on the mountain too.
And I guess that's part of it, because my big thing with this, I have no idea what ever happened to him. No one seems to know, but that was my point of bringing this up, is to get, literally just off the planet, man. He was abducted. He went with the Men in Black took him away, man. I swear to you. But it was to look at it from all the different ways, and we've experienced them all, like maybe not firsthand, but I've seen it. And it's like, you have those who use as medicinal, your back hurts, your knees hurt, your hips hurt. You just get high, stops hurting. Use it as a consciousness raiser, as a confidence booster, as a straight opera, just having fun and banging chicks, so many different, it's such a, and again, this isn't just snow sports. Ski Rex Media is usually just 20s. Snow sports, so that's why it's there. But see, we missed that one. I didn't even hear that one. Whatever I was saying, but it's just such a big part of it. And I remember one of the first times I noticed it was back in the day. Me, Trav, and a bunch of our other friends from school work at the Summit Lodge at Mount Snow at the time. And we're coming down one afternoon, and I just see 2 lifties sitting on the side of a trail openly, because the ski patrol just did sweep. So they were actually behind the sweep, which is probably not the best idea, but whatever. And they're getting high. And I'm like, ain't that something? Didn't bother me, didn't faze me. But it was after that I started to notice more and more that I was the only person on the entire mountain, and that includes the older folks who worked at the mountain too. I was the only one who didn't do it. Or I mean, there were others who didn't do it regularly, but I was like, man, this is part of the culture, to use the word culture. I'm sure there's a better word, but it's part of it. And I still can't believe it to this day. Like, I can believe it, but it's so foreign to me, because I won't do it again, because I know what'll happen. I've been there. It's ugly.
You tried it. You're
you could have been the general manager, Tim.
I could have. I could have. Screw Chris Diamond. I could have taken that place. No, shout out to Chris Diamond. I love that guy to this day. As
we spoke backstage there, again, I recall when Vail, mid-90s, maybe 95 to 98 time period, their insurance company put in a drug use clause, right? That they had to pass a drug test for employment, and it was part of their insurance. Well, suddenly, and it's not the COVID era where they can't find employees. This is the 90s. They couldn't find employees. So Vail, and this was public record, it came out in the media. Vail had to go back to their insurance company and say, we have to remove this clause from our insurance policy, or else we can't operate. Because like 60% of our positions we can't fill because they smoke marijuana. And it happened. And then what came into the industry after that was, if you're involved in an accident, then you have to get tested. It wasn't a pre-employment test. There were a few people that was required. Your lift technicians had to be able to pass drug tests. Snowcat operators, I believe. I'm not even certain on that one. But there were a few that it was a requirement. But for lift ops and all the food and beverage and ski school and everything else, like, you got to remove this clause or else we have no employees. And that spoke volumes as to what the culture was. And this is before legalization.
Absolutely. And Travis can attest to this too. When we worked back there, and when we were having this conversation before everybody else jumped on, there was no drug test in our era. Like, you could just come to work, and that was fine, and that's what you did. And then as we're getting older, because when we started we were 15 years old, so we're still young at that point, like really young. And as we're getting older, we stay in the industry. Now we're going to the parties and stuff, the employee parties, like, lifties and fucking other F&B and patrollers, what have you. And you start to see it. It's like, wow, this is something else, and I don't know why it fascinates me so. I don't know. It just, I see it, I hear it, I've participated in it, I've sat next to it, even if I don't do it. And it's far more prevalent to get high on marijuana and weed and use it for its positives, which, as many studies have shown, have outweigh the negatives. But other drugs really don't factor into it. Alcohol does, but like you don't see coke, you don't really see. Oh, all right, you might see some hallucinogens and things like this. So, like, yeah, dude,
You've never been to Aspen.
No, I've never been to Aspen.
It always snows in Aspen, bro.
Yeah, you still see a lot of kicking around, and the big pills.
Yeah,
popping, going, which nobody, each their own. Whatever. Party that way, party that way. As long as you're not.
As long as you're not what?
Anyone.
Yeah. Yeah, don't hurt anybody. That's really the big moral of this. If you can't handle it like I can't, don't do it. And if you're doing like shrooms and you're seeing unicorns and shit skiing past
Unless
you,
they
just
ask for
stop.
that.
What's that, Higgs?
Ski after it. Go catch that unicorn, man.
Fuck that.
No, I know some people like that. So I think there's some people to chat like that. I'm not too sure, but I'm not gonna call them out. But
Yeah.
It's not me. I'll tell you that right now. It ain't me.
No, it's not you. But there's some people to chat like that. Definitely.
Yeah, I'm sure, and I buy it. Scoot, you've been quiet down in your corner, man.
Yeah, I don't know what to add here. I certainly am not.
You hit a skunk.
I'm certainly not shrooms, pills, or LSD or cocaine. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, I do like that hat you're wearing, though.
Yeah, man.
I just noticed that. Oh, Higgs is gone and he's back.
Gone and back.
Yeah, that's technology, man. We're right now across 1, 2, 3 states, I think: Pennsylvania, Vermont, Colorado, and New Jersey. 4 states. Like, so technology's whacking us out, but it's actually working pretty well. This is also like second test run, just so you know. But yeah, I find it fascinating. And again, there's not as many other drugs. It really is just a thing. I don't do it, but that's the beauty of it. Snow sports is such a social thing. It's not like one of the big problems, and I consider it a problem, is the way inclusion and everything else is presented in snow sports. I say you got to present your arguments in the right way. However, sorry, Tech Rob just distracted me. He's out and in at the same time. That's very weird. People don't. If you're the 5th person out of a group of 5 and the other 4 go to the hut, go into the woods, are in the gondola, if you say no thank you, it's okay to say 100%. No thank you. There we go. You right? You back, Rob? He's back.
Yeah, so that's the thing. It's like, I guess you still gotta consider, like, it's still kind of like a family type of sport. When you're at the resort, you just gotta keep in mind where you do it, when you do it, things like that, because there's families around and such.
It's not like it's Disney, man. There's a lot of people getting fucked up on the mountain. There's so much related. It really, I'm surprised that Tim's so surprised by it, because even before I started riding, there was movies like Out Cold. They go hand in hand. Weed and alcohol and the mountain. It's like lemon to fish.
Yeah, well, it's funny you bring up Out Cold, and you could take it back through fictional movies all the way back to Hot Dog and things like this back in the 80s, and even Better Off Dead. It's a whole thing. But Travis and I used to say, right? Travis and I used to say Out Cold, which came out in 2000, I think. So we had already been in it for several years at this point. that movie came out, we're like, that was kind of our life, at a teenage version of it, because that's what we were, but we hung around the adults too. That was kind of our life. And yeah, when I was a teenager, I was surprised by it. And now I'm just fascinated by it. Now, here's something that just popped in here. Here we have many states where it is legal. Vermont, it is recreationally legal. Colorado, Washington, Oregon, I believe, Nevada, California, all these places that actually have a lot of, ski culture to go around them. But at one point, a few years ago, and I don't know if you guys heard about this, there were cops on skis in Canada. And that's one of the things they were looking for. What would you do?
Well, I was having this thought earlier, having no idea that you would touch on this. I look at skiing as like the only sport. If you're out on a lake or a river on a boat and you're drinking, you get arrested. If you're driving an automobile, you get arrested, right? If you get busted. In skiing, mid-mountain bar, drink all you want, hop right back on a lift. You're on deadly weapons. You're on unguided missiles, right? And it's not a crime. Unless you get in an accident and someone's injured or killed, and then, you're
encouraged.
But you can be as wasted as you want on a mountain. And I've always sat back and been like, wait a minute. I'm a live and let live guy, so I'm not asking for any change there. I'm just observed. Do whatever you want.
Yeah, it's something, man. And it was amazing.
Canada, man. Let's build forget a southern wall. Let's build a border wall. A northern wall. Just be like, all right, guys, you're gonna be that way. You stay out.
Canada's a strange place sometimes, man. I mean, I love it, and I love my Canadian brothers and sisters. I do, but when I read that a couple of years ago, like they were up there checking for everything. I mean, they were just being cops, doing their job, but that was, I guess, one of the big things they were looking for. And I don't know what their laws are up there. I haven't been to Canada in so long.
They know what their laws up there.
They really don't. Trudeau, once he grew his goatee out and became evil Trudeau, that place went nuts. I don't know. I mean, I love that place
because some of the finest skiing on the planet is up there. But
what the
Rob's
hell?
I got distracted by Rob's cat.
Nice pussy.
I was wondering who was going to say it first. I let it go. I was like, I got completely distracted. I mean, I heard everything, but I was just.
It was a hand puppet.
That'd be awesome too. If anybody wants to bust out a shark puppet, that's fine. But yeah, Canada. I don't know. I do know, because if we're going to talk about other vices you can find on a mountain, just throwing it out there. I know, what is it? Tremblant has a casino where the lift goes to the casino. Like, I got to get up and check that place out. But that's one of my vices, the one I can do, and not get all weird or end up in a hospital. Typically, I don't know, maybe gambling, that is. But man, I don't know, man. When they did that, and here in yeah, I mean, I never done that either. I should have. When I lived in Vegas, I should have done that, but I didn't. But I said
poor, not whore. I didn't even think of horse for some reason.
Oh, you said poorhouse. Then you know where my mind is at. On horse. That's fine. You know what? I was supporting the whore industry before it became popular in this new age of 21st century feminism, where whores are okay.
That's a subject change. We're
that is. Yep. Bring it back around. Bring it back around.
Same here.
I need to focus.
I liked horse before it was cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rob, you're muted.
He is. Rob, your audio's gone, man. Can't hear you. Could you read his lips?
No, I can't rip.
I think your cat fucked something up.
Nice, dude.
No, can't lip read. I think the cat messed with it.
No,
especially not now.
Right.
Yeah, he's gone. He'll be back.
And how is it in Pennsylvania? Because we out of high school, I grew up back east, skiing Shawnee, night ski, go to class all day, and then just smoke all, the hour ride all the way up to the hills. And
yeah, like in P. So it's funny in PA. We have a lot of night skiing, and the night crowd versus the day crowd's interesting. You smell pot,
all night long,
all day, but at nighttime, there's a lot of backpacks full of beer, and definitely smell a lot of weed around the hill. It's interesting, it's really interesting how the crowd's different, but it's still there and definitely around.
The backpack's full of beer. Like I said, and I've been on both sides. I quit smoking my junior year of college. I wanted to bring my GPA up. So I've been on both sides of the board. I'm a live and let live guy. As you were saying earlier, Tim, I was no thank you. And the thank you is important because you're being offered something. Someone's extending, a kindness and a share to you. So I think culturally in the community, whether you partake or not, I don't know about now because everyone's offended by everything. So if you're out there in the woods and someone went to hand you a bowl, someone would be all like, oh my God, and then get into a diatribe versus just being like, oh, no, thank you.
You might be right. I don't know. Generally, the people I'm around when they're smoking, they do all right, and it becomes part of the social aspect of the snow sports world, which is a very social set of sports. Very social, man. You talk to everybody, anybody, and it doesn't even have to have a reason. Thankfully, the tailgate scene has come back after last year, and I think it's just going to get bigger. John Hunt is ready for the East Coast get together at Whaleback, just so you know.
Nice.
I don't know. I've always just said no thanks, and people are like, okay, and we go about our business.
I'm gonna cut out here in a second because I do have a phone call I have to catch up on. I will say this from my experience, why I actually appreciated marijuana more so in that era in my youth than alcohol. Because if you would smoke a little bit of marijuana, that would be your buzz. That would be your intoxicant. That would set your space and your place. Then I would go out for the evening and would have a beer socially. I would have a nipple on it. It would take me, I might have 2 beers that night. It was more just a social thing because I was in my space. On the flip side, not having that intoxicant first, found that I drank more as the intoxicant, and or if I had several, drinks in me, then went and had marijuana, then it's completely different buzz. So I always appreciated hey, I'm stoned and I can go out and have a couple of drinks versus, hey, I've had a couple of drinks, now let me get stoned. And I much prefer the former versus the latter.
Hey, man. Go ahead, Trev.
No, there you go. Good preference.
Yeah, no, and that's perfect. That is perfect, man. Well, if Gary has to go, anybody else has anything they want to add? Because we're at 1 hour and 8, which is pretty good. And, hour's good. Anybody have anything else to add? Any other
Yeah, why did Scooter show up in the same shirt as me?
Yeah. You have plenty of time to change yours with all your little breaks.
That's how you cool guys roll, man. We're all sitting there going, we want one.
Mario and Brian will be very happy to find out that even though they couldn't be here tonight and they were sorry they missed it, that their gear was prominently displayed not on one person but 2.
I got yours there too, Rex.
Yeah, you certainly do. I love it.
I can help you fix this
I mean,
problem. Just go to prowrestlingtees.com/nerdities and buy some of my shit.
Wow, what a shameless plug. Holy shit.
Oh, plug.
That was a good one. My God.
Whore.
All right.
Wicked whore.
Smooth.
I think Higgs has this suggestion to take the 2 Ski Rex Media skis and turn them into blunts with smoke tails. And then
shit.
That's some 80s shit. That's some fucking Guns N' Roses.
I wish I would have thought of that last week, man.
I could draw that.
Special 420 shirt, dude.
It's never too late.
Special 420 shirt. Yeah, I'm gonna have
to. T-shirt
to.
design, absolutely.
That is. I don't have the money to pay you to draw shit for me.
April sale. We'll
April sale 420. Everything's 42% off.
There you go. Put it
There's a bit
March,
there.
It'll be good.
There's a bit there. Absolutely. We'll revisit that. I'll let you know, Higgs, because your art skills are far better than mine. I suck. Well, we're starting to get silly, and I think that's pretty much a sign to go. But we covered a lot of shit here. And again, like I said, I wanted to hear from people who done it, live it, do it. And again, across the board, opera, medicinal, whatever it is. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. I love it. So this was fun. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope anybody watching enjoyed it. I hope anybody who's watching the replay, because I'm going to push the hell out of the replay too, because this was awesome. What do you guys think?
That was fucking awesome. Yeah, it was good.
I enjoyed myself.
Excellent. All right, so cool. Anybody want to plug anything? I know Higgs does, so he can go last.
God's
Gary,
vagina. That's what I want to plug.
Yeah, you can find me at Tech Rob on Twitter, Rob G_ski on Instagram, and skiingwithnofilter.com is the blog.
You can't find me anywhere. I'm not trying to be found. Thank you for the
Just contact me. You'll fucking find him.
Glad to hang with the crew, though. Obviously, some of you guys are new to me. Thank you for allowing me to join. Appreciate your company.
Nice. Scooter.
Same as Rob. Just follow him. I like his shit. You'll be able to find me.
And before Higgs go, Rob kind of broke up when he said skiingwithnofilter.com. That is Rob's blog, active during the season. Check that shit out. Rob speaks with no filter. So there you go. So Higgs, take it away and plug how you know how to plug.
All right, folks, if you like listening to people talk about nerd shit, go to nerdities.com. Our tagline is no topic too absurd, no statement too asinine, and we find a way to make sure that happens 2 times a week at the very least. Interviews, fucking creative stuff. We got our own comic, we got t-shirts, prowrestlingtees.com. Go to prowrestlingtees.com. You can buy this motherfucking shirt. You see, I drew that shit. I drewed that shit, and more like it. Unfortunately, we'll be able to get you the Halloween shirt right now. If you would order it right this second, it wouldn't come by Halloween, but you can still fucking buy it, and I'd fucking buy it because it rules. I bought it myself. Unfortunately, I'm the only person who's bought it myself, so it's not a lot out there, but it looks fucking great, and I'd advise people to fucking buy it. I think a lot of fucks in there. I've only had 1 beer. I don't think I'm drunk yet. Well, fucking. Anyway,
I can't wait. I can't wait to be able to do an episode of your show. I can't wait, just so I can do what you just did, but try and one-up it. Ski Rex Media will be guesting on the Nerdities at some point, believe me.
I'm trying to talk them into going up and doing a show. I don't even have to talk. I'm just trying to figure out a schedule to get us up there. Because, these kind of Skype-ish things are cool, but there's nothing like people sitting in a room. This would have gotten so fucking debaucherous if we were all in the same room together.
Smoking a joint. Well, just to throw out a few of my own plugs, skirexmedia.com and Skirex Media across social media, including LinkedIn now for anybody who wants to do business. At some point, the Pennsylvania contingent, Travis, we will be skiing up here in New England. If you see any of us anywhere, don't be afraid to say hi. We're all very nice people. This year, when they come up, we'll be doing our Indy Tour, Indy Pass Mountains, and Whaleback. We will all be there. Travis has agreed for that last week in January. So we will be around, and we will do it. And Higgs, again, if you want to know our schedule, we'll let you know. You come up, and we will do. And Gary, too, man, if you get in an airplane and come out east, if you want, we'll all get in a room together and we'll do it.
I'll be driving, and you might see me. I think I've got enough challenges thrown my way to get back on boards. But when I get healthy, I look forward to skiing with all y'all and talking some more of my shit, because my shit's real.
Awesome. I love it. Well, thank you guys. Thanks for anybody who watched. And again, if you're watched the replay, thank you for watching that. I really enjoyed this. Thank you, gentlemen. Like I said, we will ski together. If not this season, next season. If not that season, the season after that. So long, everybody. Enjoy your evening, and I'll see you out there, guys. Later, y'all.
Fuck, bye.